Let me think about it for a second. I left the house and I was like, I feel like I need to be bringing weed here because everybody's always known me for that. So I grabbed a bunch, put it out back, and then I looked at my people that are coming on. I don't think I'm gonna
Yeah.
need it. Like Zach and freaking Hubert. Do you know Hubert?
Who?
Brian
Brian
Hubert.
Hubert? Yeah.
Man, dude, the guys that are around us now are the best. Brian's one of the best dudes ever.
I don't see him a ton. He brings some vehicles in for me to work on, but
Yep. He's
yeah.
coming in. He's gonna fill that Farmer State box. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Get them in there. But all right, today on the podcast, I've got Brenton Douglas, the legend,
The Brenton Douglas.
the one and only.
Yeah.
I've known Brenton forever. Kind of finished high school running around together. He went off to school. I lived with Brenton. Brenton was my best man at my wedding. Brenton drove my wife to Springfield every day for who knows how long to school. We don't really hang out that much as we've gotten older, but nothing's changed. He's the best mechanic I know, the best dude, and super pumped to have him on the podcast today. We've got 5 Pike County businesses. They've teamed up to make something useful, not ads, but tools you'll actually use every day. Meat temps, protein charts, kitchen conversions, all on collectible fridge magnets. We're only making 100 sets, and they're available at thepikecountyyinsider.com. And then I want to talk to L&H. They do all that natural sunscreens and whatever. So I'd like to have that in the package. So, and I put together, you need to pull that up like maybe a fist away from your face, and then make sure that on the back side is a green button.
Yeah, there's
All right,
green button.
all right. As long as it's green, it's on. So L&H does the natural stuff. I've got Zach Orr on tomorrow, or yeah, Zach Orr's on tomorrow. Brian Hubert's on Thursday. Friday is the new disposal company, Voga Disposal.
Logo disposal.
He's in there's like 37 of us now. So I'm just gonna go down and hit every one of you guys and then every one of the like 20 people that are in the influential contest. Like Angie Greger's on next week. I just want to keep it not necessarily business. I don't know anything about Andy yet, but based on the competition, people love her. So many nominations and voting and stuff. She's just comes up over and over. So I was like, let's just get him on and like let's not talk about the school. Let's just, hey man, what's going on? Like what? Here's the 5 questions or whatever, you
Yeah.
know. So yeah. So what's going on at Douglas Automotive now?
we're, we're really busy. We expanding. We got the property to the east of us bought, so we're gonna have more parking. Tear the house down.
Okay.
So we're gonna trying to fix the parking issues. We've had that since we started.
Yep.
So we'll have tear the house down and we're gonna add parking. There's 6 apartments over there. I'm gonna renovate and then rent the 6 apartments out to help pay for the parking lot.
Good.
And we're in the process of renting or um, renovating the apartments right now.
Good.
So
Who's doing it?
um, just me and my mom and dad. And
Yep.
got some other people helping.
Yep. That's how me and Ashley do it. It's just hit it.
Yeah.
That's kind of how we were always like, do it right now. That's how I always
Yeah,
end.
that's I closed on it last Wednesday, and we've already got them all
Yep.
stripped out.
Yeah, and that's
We're in the process of going back together now. So,
well, and
and
then once you get started demo, and I don't know how you are, but I just want to get it done.
yeah,
I just go all the
yeah,
way to the end.
we had it demoed within 2 days. We had everything ripped out of them, and they're getting new bathrooms and new kitchens and new flooring.
Good. What's
So,
the layout of that? Is it just like a living room, bedroom, bathroom, or?
living room and kitchen kind of combined,
Yep.
and then they're 1 bedroom, 1 bath.
Yeah.
So
What's
there is one that is 2 bedroom, 1 bath, but
yeah.
they're kind of open concept, living room, kitchen combined, and
That's
um, and then of course the bedroom and bathroom are separate.
what about HVAC? Is it going to be just
There's
one?
not going to be any air conditioning. if somebody wants to have air conditioning, they can put a window unit in it.
Yep.
You know, um, they'll be responsible for the electric on it, but
Yep.
I'll pay the water. The water's all together, so I'll pay the water, but um, the electric's all separate. So if they want to put a window unit in, then I'm fine with it.
Yep. That's a good idea. That just put it, if you want to pay the power bill, pay the power bill. If you
Yeah,
don't, yeah. Less maintenance.
yeah,
We just put mini splits in our house, and I think it's a good thing, but we didn't put any fresh air in there. And so it's kind of a problem.
yeah.
I just have to make sure and keep
Your
of
house is pretty sealed up
so
from,
tight, man.
yeah.
Yeah.
You got spray. It's all spray foamed.
The walls are, yeah, the ceiling spray foam, the walls are the foam blocks.
Yeah,
So, yeah, I love it, but that is one thing, just getting making sure and keeping, because even in the winter, like if the moisture seems like if you're still battling a thing between, because like the mixed air or something refreshes the moisture content. Does that make sense? Is that,
yeah,
I just didn't
probably.
really realize what the ventilation portion of HVAC
Hmm.
is like super important, you
Yeah.
know?
Now my shop has mini splits in it.
Yep.
So that's why, if you drive by the shop in the summertime, the doors are closed. We've got air conditioning in the shop to,
Yeah.
mainly to keep my employees halfway comfortable and to get more work done when it's 100 degrees outside.
Yeah, you can't get nothing done when it's hot. I remember just like everything sucks. It's
Yeah.
been a lot of years, but
And I, I'm going to be doing this for the rest of my life. So to
yeah.
being out there in the heat all day long, I'm getting older. I'm not old yet, but getting older and having air conditioning's nice.
Sometimes it's just like I worked a long time for this and I'm gonna enjoy it.
Yeah, yeah,
Hey, Ace, you want to adjust this and make sure it's up closer to him so he can sit comfortable and yet it be up close to his mouth. Alright, I think like they're working fine. I gotta hit this. I think it's red now, but all right, it should be back. As long as it's good, I'm good. Sorry, you'll have to splice that out. But yeah, if you want to go to the, if you gotta go to the bathroom or whatever and all this, it's
hmm
supposed to be super relaxed. Do you listen to these
I've never
ever?
listened to any podcast
No
ever.
shit. You'll love it. It's super, just not like the, when we grew up it was like polished like the radio.
Yeah.
Now dudes, like Joe Rogan made his whole start, they just got as high as they could. They would just smoke weed for like 3 to 4 hours and do a podcast, talk about crazy stuff. And they don't, now they'll smoke cigars and do
Hmm.
these babies. But yeah, so anyway, I wanted to circle back on the, you're gonna do this for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Maybe not. So Brenton was my best man. I've known you since probably a long time, but
Yeah.
really since like 16, probably
Yeah, probably.
something like that. So I know your history, like from pretty much, high school on. And so just like, can you summarize it? I started after high school and then run through the experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, after high school, I went to Indianapolis
Okay.
and went to Lincoln Tech and got my automotive. Um, it's an automotive. It's actually an associate's degree of automotive business management.
And that was a year.
It was a year. It was 14 months,
Yep.
and if you were the top of your class, you got to do your last 3 months was on site. So I got hired by Green Dodge,
Yep.
and I worked there for the last 3 months of my schooling, and it counted as my schooling.
Yep.
I can't remember what that's called, but
Like
job
a
shadowing or as apprentice, I guess,
intern or yeah,
intern,
yeah.
apprentice, whatever
Yep.
you call it.
So
And
just jump in. This would be where I entered back into the picture.
yeah,
So then me and Ashley had moved to Springfield for
Springfield.
massage, and I was just completely lost in life, and I had no skills. So I was like, all right,
Yeah, so you come and worked at the Dodge deal with
yep,
me for a little while, and then
yep.
um,
We lived together up
yeah,
there, and then yeah. So anyway, you started at Dodge.
started at Dodge, worked there for 4 or 5 years, and then um, Bryce Gleckler called me, and Heaton's was needing another mechanic, and which is my hometown. I was actually driving back and forth because I'd had Austin, my oldest son, and driving back and forth was becoming
Very
driving an hour to Springfield into the sun, and then driving an hour home into the sun was hard. So, you know,
Dude.
Ashley can tell you,
Yeah, man.
used to fall asleep on the way on the
It
way
was
there.
so those time periods were messed up because like you lasted way excuse me, way longer than I did. I mean, how many you probably drove up there for another 3 or 4 years,
Yeah, I
something
think
like
I
that.
can't remember how many years I was at the Dodge dealer. It was 3 or 4, it may have been 5. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, like the people that know you won't be surprised, but you're skipping over like so then you started out actually at Mitsubishi, didn't you?
Well, yeah, there was a
So then he just checked boxes like
yeah,
Mitsubishi, Subaru.
Mitsubishi, Subaru, and and then the Mitsubishi Subaru side wasn't busy enough to have a another mechanic there. That's where I did my internship,
Yep.
under Tony Greer.
I was gonna say we're gonna get back to Tony here in a second, but yeah.
He actually called me the other day asking advice.
Did he really?
Yeah,
Is he still out in California?
yeah, he's
Yeah.
still in California.
Is he still doing the dip thing or is because for a while he was doing some kind of dip
I think he's working out of his garage now. I think
no,
which
okay.
he's retirement age, so I'm sure he's retired and he's just doing piddly stuff out of his garage.
Is he still a wild man?
I don't know. He
I don't
didn't
know.
didn't tell me that
He
part.
did. I talked to him a few years ago, and I don't think he's a wild man like that. Like
Yeah.
like I think he's just wild in spirit.
I
But
mean, I learned a lot from him because, this guy didn't ever stand still. If there was cars to work on, he would actually run back and forth from the parts room to get his tools, you know,
yep,
and I think that's how, I was always trained, brought up with a good work ethic from my parents, and then when I started working with him and seeing how he would, just hustle all the
yep,
time. He's hustled everywhere he went. And I kind of picked up on that. And I think that's where I, you know, got to be really good at what I do.
yep. He was a good role model for sure.
Yeah.
He made money too.
Yeah.
Tony was like, I'll work. Well, like whatever. I want to get this many hours this week, but it doesn't mean I have to work. It just
Hmm.
means that I'll skip lunch and I'll work on two vehicles at once,
Yeah.
and whatever. While he's going to get parts, I'll work on something else, and
Yeah.
it's like it just made sense to me. I was like, oh, this is a game for somebody with a pretty good brain, you
Yeah. I
know.
mean, you've got to, yeah, it's the matter of just keeping working continuously.
Hmm.
Don't, if you got to wait for 15 minutes for a part and you have something else to work on, go work on something else.
Yep. Yep.
And, and you, because you're paid off of per job at a dealership. You are. We don't do that at Douglas Automotive, but um, it's a lot harder in a small
I
community
bet.
and working on different vehicles every day. So you can't. We call it flat rate in the
Yep.
automotive business. Um, you can't just when you work on different stuff every day, you're not as efficient
Yep.
as you were if you're working on the exact same thing every day.
Yep.
In dealerships, you work on most of the time you work on the same vehicles, all day, every day. Maybe different jobs, but
Yep.
you're familiar with that brand.
And probably in the same mileage range and everything, right? You're like probably not getting a ton of like 200,000 mile Mitsubishi Super
No,
or what you're
now back
probably
then, when you're at a dealership like that, the 100,000 miles was, people traded them off when they got to
that's what
be
I figured.
that many
Yeah.
miles. But at my shop now, all we work on is stuff that's older,
Yep.
and have rust problems and bolts breaking off, and then just the fact that you're working on a different brand of
Think
vehicle every day.
guys bringing you a freaking camper van.
Camper vans and yeah. I mean, we work on RVs and boat trailers, and we don't work on boats, but we service the boat trailer, wheel bearings and tires and brakes, and
Yeah.
um, it's something different every day. You don't get bored,
Yeah.
and the days fly by. Like I get there at 7:30 in the morning, and it's 5 o'clock. That before you know it,
I know.
and every day goes by that fast. And before you start your Monday off, and then all of a sudden it's Friday, and you know you don't even know what you worked on.
I know. And the thing that it took me a while to like come to terms with is, and then you're just one person living like that's your whole world.
Yeah,
And then all of us are doing the same thing. It's so weird to think sometimes at the end of the day, I don't even remember. I'll like have a conversation with you in the morning and I'll be like, was that today
today or
or
yesterday.
was
Was there?
that? And it just like, and it's just like, man, if I'm doing this, then it means everybody else is doing this
Yeah,
too. It's wild. We don't even have, I don't know, you got kids in sports or anything like
yeah. Carson is.
yeah.
Carson's playing baseball.
So then that's a whole busy thing.
Mm-hmm.
Ava's gymnastics and has always been a thing but then I think about like Matt and Faith Sachs, dude, when they were at the gym, they had four kids and all of them were in
Oh yeah,
everything. Like they were Sockets for the weekend while another one went to softball. And I just thought, what
traveling
a,
baseball all over the
oh,
country, and yeah,
it sucks. It's like, which that's one of my big questions on here is like, that's the thing about, I guess we'll jump into that real quick. Let's get it before you run out of time. Oh, shoot. We just started. It feels like we talked forever. It's only been 20 minutes, maybe. Uh, so like you heard all my talk about you versus you. You watch any of that stuff that I post online?
I've never watched a podcast, so
Okay. So this is my own this is where I came up with my own
yeah.
analogy. So like name your example because I could name like 1,000 of them, but you know what it is. So you're like, I should go work out, and then you're like, but I had a long day, or like I'm tired. And I
Yeah.
always use workout because it's my thing.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, welcome to the Pike County Insider. Glad you joined me. I want to say thank you for listening, but seriously, I wanted to talk to you about something that's super close to my heart. There was a time in my life that I felt like I couldn't make a decision and I was being a real bitch. And then I found Test Storm, now called Strength Booster, and all my problems went away. Buy it now. So I read this book that says you're not the person you're not the voice, you're the person listening to the voice. So you decide if you listen to the voice. And it was like the first thing that made sense to me because I was like, oh yeah, I know about that. It's not that you're crazy. It's just you always have that like and so I throw all these examples out. You is actually you, and lowercase u is like the bitch. And so that's why I'm talking about the bitch. And so the bitch says things like, well, I could do that too if I started with $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
Or like, you know the deal. Like, I shouldn't. This is
It
my
must,
thing.
or it must be nice.
Yeah, it must be
That's
nice,
yeah. You
and
drive a new vehicle, and everyone says, "Oh, it must be nice," but
yep, it's just a
the 16-hour days and stuff that I've put in, for years,
yep.
and
And it's like it's exactly what it is. It's like the I don't know how censored I'm gonna be on this. I'm just gonna but I don't think the bitch is actually that bad. But if you always refer to it as the bitch, is lowercase u. That's usually So my whole analogy is this: like you got God, and then you have uppercase U, and then you have lowercase u. So the lowercase u is like the one that wants to like not get
mm-hmm.
cold and not get uncomfortable, but that's also the one that reminds you of all your failures. So like if you're getting ready to do something, the voice says like, I don't know about this, like
Yeah.
I got a bad shoulder, remember? Or like whatever. And so that's when I say like what's you versus you moment, the one in your life, it was that one where you're just like, for me, it was like where you finally realize you're like, no one else is going to help me. Like, you got friends, you got parents. I had Ashley, but like, this is all me.
Mm-hmm.
It's truly about just overcoming being a bitch and, or like listening to the bitch. You know what I mean? So, like, I don't know. Without getting too deep, what's a moment where you were like, I don't know if I should go to like for instance, like I don't know if I should go to school. I don't know if this is right. And then you're just like,
Well, that
stuff like that.
I've always known that I was going to be a mechanic. I don't know
Yeah.
why. Ever since I was a little kid. I mean, yeah, my dad worked on stuff, and I helped him do it. But he also, you know, would he? I think the moment I realized how what I could do was he brought a dirt bike home in parts, like
Yep.
in a box, and I'd have been 8 to 10 years old, and he said, "You can have it, and you got to get it running." Well, I spent the
Challenge
next couple
accepted.
of weeks putting this dirt bike together that was in boxes, and got it running, and and everything worked on it,
Yep.
and that was I don't know exactly what age, but at 8 to 10 years old, and we didn't have YouTube back then to
Yep.
watch videos on. I just put things together, and then took them apart. And if it was wrong, I took it apart, put it back together until it worked.
Yep.
And so I feel like my mechanic ability is got to be a God given talent, I guess,
I was thinking
because
to say,
I
where does it
don't,
come from?
yeah, I mean, because yeah, my dad did, teach me how to work on cars, but there was also something down deep inside of me where it was almost like I knew how to do it
Yep.
already.
Yep.
Um, that's the only really way I can explain it. And then, getting the work ethic from my parents, that has really helped me
Yep.
too. I my dad's always been a workaholic, is what my mom would say, because he's always working. You don't sit down and watch TV in the evening, but maybe just to watch the news and then go to bed,
Yeah.
and that's it. Work from daylight till dark, and
Which is basically how you are, isn't
that's
it?
all we've ever known.
Yeah.
So and so I guess I can, you know, take a lot from my family, to get me where I am now.
Yep. Yep.
But
Well, and I'll just wait.
I'm back.
Yeah, and Ashley will tell you that if you, for sure, that's your God-given gift, but the days fly by if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. Like,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? If you're like in alignment, if you're like in alignment and then it seems like because you're doing what you like,
yeah,
it's not work, you know,
yeah.
right? Like it turns into just like, well, this is what I do. Like this is
Hmm.
what I was here for, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
And yeah,
yeah. And like I said, when you were talking about the you versus you, I think my little lowercase u is, if I drive by another shop and there's somebody else's car there that I have worked on before,
oh yeah,
it kind of hurts my feelings. I mean, not because they go somewhere else, but when we work on something, we want to do it right
yep,
first of all. And in mechanics, you can't always do it right. Sometimes stuff breaks,
yeah,
bad parts happen. Um, but if something does happen to someone's vehicle that we did, I want to be the first call. Say, hey, this, you put this on and it broke. Well, I want to know why it broke. I want to know what we did wrong and what I can do to make that right.
yep,
And that's probably my biggest. I don't know if that's a fault or not, but it,
I
when
don't know,
when I do work on someone's vehicle and they go somewhere else, I feel like I've done something wrong to them.
yep,
And it, for lack of better words, it hurts my feelings.
yep,
But at the same time, I've got to have big shoulders, working on for the
yeah,
public. You got to have big shoulders and take responsibility for everything that runs in and out of my shop.
yep, yep.
So,
Man, that's why we're friends for sure. Because I mean, I think there's something to dudes for one that like we want loyalty. Like
hmm,
it's just because we give it, you know what I
yeah,
mean? And so then, and I don't think that's necessarily loyalty, but it is like, hey, what did I do wrong? You know what I mean?
yeah,
You're like, if I did something wrong, I want to make sure that my reputation's protected and like I
hmm,
made it right. And like think about the people that don't do that. You know what I
yeah,
mean? I don't know how I'll miss a rep or like forget to call somebody back and just and go over the top with it. I'm just like, dang, like
hmm,
I worked so hard to not do that. So yeah, when you don't have answers, you're probably like, man, like
yeah. And I
I
mean that,
wonder what
and
happened.
then bad stuff does happen.
Yep,
Stuff gets broke. You know, accidents happen.
yep,
We don't get stuff always fixed right. But we always try to come back and make it right. So
yep, yeah. And I think everybody that knows you knows that. Or I mean, basically,
yeah,
say you like your family, the whole group of you,
yeah,
and I think not that I didn't ever really think about this, but you just assume when you live here your whole life that you like just kind of assume that people know who you are. I've
hmm,
noticed that. You know what I mean? Like not
yeah,
because I'm important, but just because like, hey, I've been here for my whole life. And it cracks me up because when we sold the gym, there was tons of people that didn't even know it existed
hmm.
afterwards. And I was just like, well, isn't that just perfect? I think I'm so important that everybody would know about the gym.
Yeah,
And so that's where this all came from. I was like, well, there's tons of people that don't even know who you are. You know what I mean? They've
yeah,
never even, there's people that don't even know where your shop's at,
yeah,
which sounds wild, but
yeah.
it's
That's
true.
yeah. I mean, we put the sign out on oh out on the main road, the real big one.
Mm-hmm.
And we've had people come in here and, say, I didn't know you even were
Yeah.
there. So, um, and your bench boards are all around town. I've got at least two of them, I
Yep.
think. And, people come in, they see the signs and they tell us, hey, I've seen that sign here or here. And, didn't realize you were even around. So,
That's great. That's good. Speaking of that, we're on to the next thing. Uh, what if we gave you, Brenton, personally, a bench? You could put any message you wanted on it.
uh, like a bench for my
What
business or for me.
what would for you if you were gonna basically spread a message from Brenton's spirit, heart, what would it be?
I don't know. I don't know.
uh,
I would
don't do
say,
drugs.
yeah, don't do
Like,
drugs.
like work hard.
Work hard. Yeah, work hard, and um, when times get hard, and I feel like I don't know. I feel like I've been like completely broke before, not knowing where I was going to get my come up with my next meal.
Yep.
Not really that bad because I've always had family around. I could go eat at somebody's house, but spent all my money and
Yep.
I don't get paid for a week or whatever, and and just put your head down and keep working and keep going. Don't give up because um, somebody always has it worse
For
than
sure.
you do.
Yep.
I went through a really hard time when I opened the business up.
Yep.
With stuff going on with my personal life, and it was I about give up several times,
Yep.
and I've kept pushing, and it's better now. I'm
Yep.
not completely healed from it, but
Yeah.
just kept my head down and put everything I had into my kids and in my business. So
Yep.
if I had anything to put a message out, I would just say, you know, put your head down and work for what you want,
Yep. Yep.
and don't give up.
Yep. Man, that's a great message. You're killing it. You didn't even kind of surprise you with these too. I love that because it's true because I think that when you get, this is where I step in kind of in the weirdness, but like people talk about manifestation or prayer. But if you keep walking that back, it's like manifestation is prayer, and then setting goals reproduces the same, right? Like you focus on something and you
Hmm.
start working hard towards it. You can call it whatever you want, but like all you're focused on is that goal. You're giving your all to this in this direction.
Hmm.
It's the same if you like manifest or if you like whatever. You're just going like, I'm gonna go for this, and I don't give a shit like what's in my way. I'll just keep
I'm gonna get
one
it.
thing at a
I'm gonna
time.
go get that, and I'm gonna be successful no matter what.
Yep, it is. It's
Yeah.
like just point me. That's what I have a hard time with my energy is like I just need to be pointed in the right direction. Where I've been, but you can't bounce back and forth. And like you're saying, like you just got to be like, I'm gonna do this really freaking well. And it's like it applies to all these rules you read about, like the 10,000 hour rule. They say you're not a professional at anything until you do something 10,000 for 10,000 hours, which ends up being like whatever it is, so many hours a day for 10 years.
Hmm.
Well, frick yeah, like mechanicing for 10 years, you know what I mean? Or like
Yeah.
playing piano or whatever it is. It's like, it's all the same. It's your message of like, just don't stop,
Yeah.
don't let,
Don't stop. Just
yeah,
put your head down and work for what you want.
and you'll get there. You'll get, the more you mess around, the lower you'll stay. Like you
Hmm.
start climbing. What daily discipline or routine has made the biggest difference for you?
Mm. I'm not really a routine guy, I guess. Um, I'm not sure on that one.
We'll come back to it. I always give Britton a hard time because he's not a morning person.
No, I am not a
Like
morning person.
it's so wild because once again, you think everybody would be like you, but I get up at like 4 in the morning. But if we were hanging out at like 8 o'clock at night, dude, I'm done.
Hmm.
I'm I'm already thinking about getting up at 4. You know what I mean? I'm already thinking
Yeah,
about
and I
tomorrow.
mean, I'm still working at 8 o'clock at night, and
Oh man.
most of the time, and whether it's there or at home or out on the farm where we deer hunt, I'm always doing something.
Yep.
So when it gets, it's usually 10 or 11 o'clock before I'm even thinking about going to bed. So
I think we all have. a lot of us have that in common. Ashley talks about it that it's like a masculine thing, like, she- and which it makes sense because the masculine is like purpose, like we're about accomplishment, purpose, and she's like, you guys always have to be doing something, and I'm like, I mean, that actually makes a ton of sense because
Yeah.
if I check boxes, if I start a day like you or whatever, you have 5 jobs and you look at complete all of them, or I get to delete all these emails, dude, I'm like, I feel like I really killed it. You
Yeah.
know, I'm like, man, I could go home, I could sit down for 30 minutes and just chill and be fine with it.
Hmm.
Because otherwise, I'm like, oh, I don't know, I got interrupted a bunch of times and I didn't get that much done today. I need to produce more or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, how do you balance your work for your people? This is what kind of what we started. Like how do you manage your basically, I think your calling, which is what you do, and versus like your kids and stuff like that.
Um, I just, I, I guess the biggest way is I'm not open on Saturday and Sunday.
Mm,
Um, I spend every Saturday with my kids, and Sundays, and during the week too. But um, with being closed on Saturdays, we don't have to worry about going into work on Saturday and
yep,
have the weekend to spend and actually plan stuff to do with the kids
yep,
instead of just being present.
yep,
Being present is a big deal too, but I feel like when we go side by side riding, we go jeeping, we go fishing together, just
yep.
little things that don't really mean a lot, but
I
you are
mean,
spending time and you're not just sitting idle.
yeah,
Or and there are times where the boys do come and hang out at the shop and I'm working, um, and being present, and that's part of being present, I guess, is they're still there and
yeah.
they're learning things from me, while I'm working. Um,
But it's tough for me because I'm a one-track mind guy. Like, sometimes the kids will come to me when when I'm doing something like that, something with like the,
mm-hmm,
and I don't even remember talking to them. Like, to
yeah,
be completely honest, like they walk away and I yeah them and I don't even know
I
what
don't
they
even know what they
said.
said.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then I'm like, ah, so you're like, that would be homeschool versus or something like that, where like we spend so much time together that I think that the quality is maybe not as good because it's
mm-hmm,
never full on time. Whereas
yeah,
like what you're saying is like, yeah, I'm gonna go to work and there's gonna be a sacrifice. But like but on the weekends you're way intentional. Like
yeah,
way more intentional than I am. I'll just go like, okay, work is done. Now like I've been wanting to do all these projects around the house and I'll just like literally just change directions and
mm-hmm,
then I'll be in the middle of that and they'll be like talking to me and I'm like, damn it, I gotta get better.
yeah, yeah. I know something that made a big impact on me is um, when Justin and Jen lost Joel.
Mm,
Joel or Justin made a speech at their Fourth of July party, and he said that Jen was always planning these vacations, and and whether they had the money to do it or not, and he said she made him go do them, and he's glad he did. He said, and one of the things he said was, take that trip, take that vacation with your kids, you know,
yep,
no matter if you don't think you can afford it, take that time and take that trip,
yep,
and that I don't know why that stuck with me so much
yep,
about that whole, um, tragedy of losing all those boys. But when Justin had that speech,
yep,
for the Fourth of July party, that part really stuck with me.
yep,
Um, and and I feel like it. Hopefully, that'll stick with a lot of people.
yep,
Whether you can think you can afford something to do something, and we don't always have to spend money, but take that time out of your day to spend just one-on-one time with your kids or
yep,
your wife or your husband or whatever.
yep. I
So
agree. I think that's yeah, he's by spreading that message. I mean, that's such a huge message.
yeah.
It's so important because I mean that's been me and Ashley's thing since we sold the gym. We at the gym we basically built like a prison around ourselves that I couldn't find an exit. You know what I mean? You're like working all the time, and then Then COVID or whatever happened. And so then you end up just working 80-hour weeks every single week for like ever.
Yeah.
And that's what I was telling Ace the other day. He was talking about moving out, and I was like, okay, like I'm do whatever you want, but I'd like to see you be in like a little better financial condition, because what happens is I was like, if you think your spirit is like, oh, this is going to be so much fun, and then you get bills, and then you start working a few, I'm like 40-hour work weeks are, I mean, I don't know if they exist. I haven't had one like forever, and nobody I talk to has a 40-hour work week. Everyone's way more than that. But yeah, like work a few, like work on like a couple 160-hour weeks, and
Hmm.
still, if you have, if your spirit is still alive,
Yeah.
you know. And so that's always my thing. I'm like, hey, like let's pump the brakes, and just like you're saying, is there a way we could just work 40 hours a week? Because
Not that I
I
know of.
just get to steamroll and stuff, and then these activities and
Yeah.
all this, and that message is the one, man. Like you have time. Stop for just a week
Hmm.
and just like take that trip.
Yeah. Take that trip.
And that's a great message. Um, oh yeah, last one. If you could gift one experience from your journey to our listeners, what would it be? It could be a lesson, a resource, or a story.
Hmm.
I was wondering if we were going to get into the gay bar. I'll let you think about that one for a second. If we were getting into the gay bar thing or not. I wasn't that ashamed about that night, but like, I did kind of just eliminate it from my memories. And somebody brought it up the other day. I think I got some jeans that they're button ups. I always go to the dang, um, what they call that place, the used clothes, the reach out. I'll go buy like stuff there. I got this. Oh, I didn't wear it. I got this Earth Day shirt. Anyway, so I bought some jeans and they're button up, and I was like, "Dang, look at this ass!" And I'm walking out, I was like, "Don't I look sexy?" And that I think that's how it came up because I had these. So I'll just start at the beginning. Me and Brendan are working at the
Dodge
Dodge
dealers.
dealership. I was like in the parts department or something at that time. He's mechanicing
It come
and
for the weekend. We wanted to go
yeah,
out. We
and
hadn't, you know.
which Chris Perkins, I don't even
Yeah.
know. Have you talked to him? Is he?
I'm friends with him on Facebook. I
Yeah,
don't. I haven't talked to him on the phone or anything,
yeah.
but
You're just like about as friends
yeah,
as all of us are on there.
yeah,
So yeah, then he was like, "Hey, I got this place you
yeah.
can go," and we were like 19 or something, 20
Yeah, we
maybe.
weren't 21 yet. And
Yeah, and they're like, "But you can get into this bar," and I'm like, "I'm in."
yeah, we're like, all right, let's
I,
go.
I put the sexiest jeans on, tight ass shirt, and then I can't remember how it all went. We got
uh,
in there, and you
we're
figured it out, but
we're looking around, and well, it was Halloween, I think,
yep,
and
it
people were
was.
dressed up, but we were kind of looking around, and it just didn't seem no like a regular bar.
It was weird, and it was easy to get in. I remember we just
Yeah,
walked in, and yeah.
yeah, and then there's like a whole stand full of condoms. And like, but
Like,
no bars have like a stand full of condoms. And then some guy starts talking to us, and he goes, "You know where you're at, right?" And we're
Brendan
like,
kept going, when's all the chicks
"Yeah,
gonna show
where's the
up or
girl?
something like that? And he's playing pool. He said it like two times, and then the dude's like,
Where's the girls at?"
yeah. I remember when I was like, we both looked at each other and were like, "You son of a gun." I think we even drove over to Perkins' house. He lived in some
I think
subdivision
we
on the
did.
west
We just
side.
knocked on his door, and I think Dave was about ready to kick his ass. I thought it was funny, and everybody was nice to us there. It
Yeah.
wasn't like it was awkward, but at the same time, everybody was nice to us, and they're like, "You guys are, it's a gay bar. You're welcome to hang out if you
Yeah.
want." But
It was literally no problems. It was
yeah,
just the surprise of like I'm actually not gay.
yeah,
Yeah, that was wild, but it was a good joke from him. That
yeah.
was well played. I forgot we haven't even asked well, let's run through those questions real quick. What kind of questions are you're thinking let's do like five or something of I don't know, what's the shitty some way to say like what's the shittiest vehicle ever? What should you not buy? Like what
If, in my personal opinion, one of the worst vehicles ever made was, uh, and I'm a GM mechanic, and I love GM vehicles, but anything with the 3.6 in it, and from like 2000 and I think 2008 to 2014, like GMC Acadias and Equinoxes and uh, just anything that had that 3.6 in them. That engine is horrible, and you have if the timing chains go bad on them all the time. And then like the Acadias and the Chevy Traverses, it wasn't just one problem. Like they had problems with their engines, they had problems with their
I
transmissions,
heard about the
the
transmissions.
struts on them go bad, the air conditioning leaks. It's just a never ending list of problems. So my number one worst vehicle is that platform, the Chevy Traverse, GMC Acadia, the Buick Encore or Enclave. Anything in that platform is would I would say is definitely by far one of the top vehicles I would never
I would
buy.
never buy, dude. That's funny because you were prepared for that.
Yeah,
And did they make a 3.6 and something else, or they were all the same, pretty much the platform?
they were all pretty much the
Oh,
same. So
man, there was a million of those
yeah,
around.
there's a
They're
million of them
everywhere
around, and people actually buying them now because you can buy them super cheap, and
because they're wore out.
they're
And
worn out, and then they bring them in, and they need thousands of dollars worth of work,
yep,
and and like I said, it's not just one thing. You fix one thing, and then the next, and then you have another problem with them. That's expensive to fix.
yep.
So that's like I said, that'd be one probably my number one vehicle of not to own.
That is not what I expected at all. I
Yeah,
thought, yeah, I don't know what I expected, but man, there's a bunch of those.
yeah,
Or there was, I guess. Yeah, all right. One thing that I thought I have very limited experience, but one thing that a ton of people don't know is just breaking and warping the rotors. That
hmm
was something that I was the most surprised to learn about when I started hanging around you. And then, I mean, it's freaking true every single time. Like we go to the mountains and I know what's happening,
yeah,
but still, I mean, like they just get hot or whatever.
yeah.
So, would you want to explain what when you're slowing down for a stop, getting off the interstate or whatever, and you get the shaky in the wheel?
Yeah, so what that is that's your rotors being warped. It's basically it's a, you know, it's not a straight line. The rotor turns in a straight line most of the time, and then when it gets warped, it moves back and forth. So that's what makes your steering wheel shake or your brake pedal move up and down.
Yeah,
It's
so like it's like if the pads are like this, then the
yeah,
rotor is
yeah,
inside the pads. Yep.
yeah, and
Yep.
a lot of that, um, you know, if you're a stop sign driver, or stoplight driver, that causes it, or the
Yep.
two, instead of just going up and rolling up to the stoplight, you slam your brakes on,
Yep.
or you hammer down when you leave a stop sign. That's not gonna cause it, but then you get to the next one, you slam your brakes on,
Yep.
or if you get off the interstate and you're running 80 mile an hour, and then you've got so many feet to get still down to the stop sign to get into the other traffic.
Yep.
You slam your brakes on, you get them hot. Um, which the newer vehicles aren't as bad at it. Their rotors are a little thicker, I think.
Yep.
Um, actually, the older vehicles weren't either too. They didn't have as many problems with the rotors
They
working.
had, yeah, you remember there was
Yeah,
those little, it seems like those little small cars have a paper
yeah,
thin
yeah.
freaking,
Real paper thin rotors, and it seems like I when we were always taught that most of the time the rotors being warped was caused by improper torquing of the lug nuts. And that's one thing we do at my shop is, every vehicle that tire comes off of,
it's torqued.
it gets torqued with a torque wrench, to what the vehicle specs are.
That actually makes sense. I've never heard that before, but that does
Just
make
don't just
sense.
run it down and with the impact and, give it a couple ooga
Yeah.
googas or whatever.
That's how we always used to do
Yeah.
it. Yeah. That's
And
that's
yeah,
awesome.
every tire that comes off at my shop gets a torque wrench put on the lug nuts, and not just for brake rotor warpage. It's for safety too, because
Yep.
you over tighten a lug nut or you don't tighten them enough. The tire can fall off going down the road. And I'm not. That's happened to me too. It's happened to vehicles that from my shop that have actually been torqued down. Um, but with the rust and stuff in this
Yep.
area, every sometimes they don't. The wheels don't get seated correctly, or you're always supposed to come back within about 100 miles, 50 to 100 miles, and have your wheels retorqued,
Yep.
because after driving on the road they loosen up a little bit, so you need to come back and have them retorqued, and that's free at my shop. If
Yep.
we had worked on it, already done that, you swing by, and we retorque the lug nuts.
And you don't even have to put it up on the lift for that,
No,
right?
we
You
just
just,
run outside
yep,
and with a torque wrench and torque them to spec, make sure that they're all still tight.
yep,
And not saying that mistakes happen or don't happen, because they do, because we've had some tires fall off, but
yep,
um, and that's even after they've been torqued.
yep.
But like I said, with all the rust and just the area we live in,
It happens.
it happens. So
Yeah. Yeah, I never heard anybody else talk like that, so that should tell you what you need to know. So coming from a guy that blew up his own engine because he didn't put oil in it, which the circumstances I can make all the excuses I want. It was a weird circumstance, but I was thinking about this today. What's like the number one just boner of a move that's just kind of more common? Like, what's the few things that you could do that would not?
people don't change their oil anymore. So and that is in the manufacturer. And it comes down from the manufacturers. They're telling you that these cars can go 10,000 miles on an oil change. Well, yeah, they can,
Yep,
but that lessens the life of your engine. Um, you know, we're Bryce Gleckler used to always say this when we were at Heaton's. He always said, "We're not changing the oil because it's worn out. We're changing it because it's dirty, and we're getting that old oil out, the dirty oil out, changing the filter, and that's clean new oil.
yep,
And oil does wear out, but you don't want to get to that point, because once you get to that point, it's not lubricating things like it should.
yep,
Um, and like I said, you do not want to get to the point where your oil is worn out, because then you start causing problems. And that's the biggest timing chain issue. All these cars have multiple timing chains in them. We're doing a car in there right now that's got 4 different timing chains, and that's all lubricated by oil. And when that oil gets gummed up or dirty, that dirt, it's just like a bicycle chain.
yep,
You think about grinding that dirt into a bicycle chain, and then the next thing you know, your chain is loose, and you tighten it up. Well, and then a couple weeks later, you got to tighten it up again,
that
because
makes sense.
it's wearing out. So, and there's tensioners in those timing chain systems that they're hydraulically ran, and so they adjust for it. But after that chain gets so worn out, the tensioner can only adjust it so far, and
Yeah.
that's what causes the problems with the vehicles with the timing chains.
And that's because basically, because I hear this a lot, and you answered this question for me, and this is exactly what happened in my case. But you told me one time that a lot of times you're not changing the oil for the oil, but it's like if you had an oil leak or something like that, the 3,000 miles is going to catch a lot before it's too late.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
if you're going by that oil meter or the percentage gauge or whatever, well, crap, it could run it
yeah,
8 to 10,000.
and that the maintenance lights and the oil percentages on your vehicle, those don't they don't testing your oil.
Yeah.
They don't have a sensor in the oil pan that's saying, oh, your oil still has 20% life left. That's not how it works. It's
Yep.
that that is a it's a or a, what do you call that,
Algorithm or whatever.
algorithm.
Yeah.
It's an algorithm in the computer that goes off of time
Yep.
and miles that you drive, idling time, and that's how that is figured, and it really has nothing to do with the actual oil in the car.
Yep. That I think that's huge, and I'm glad because I mean I hear people say stuff like that all the time, and I'm not a know it all or whatever, so I just like in my head the little voice is like, well, that's not actually how it works, but
Hmm.
like I'll just carry on with my business. So I think this is perfect because then a ton of people probably wonder that.
Yeah,
Oh well, it says I don't need an oil change, and I'm thinking, well, Britain says if you have an oil leak, you could lose what, a couple quarts probably over and maybe still make it safe.
and it depends on what kind of engine you have too. I
Yeah,
mean, a big diesel motor, some of them have 14, 15, 16 quarts of oil in them.
true.
So it could lose a quart or two over 5,000 miles, and you'd still be okay. And if you got a 4-cylinder car, it only holds 4 to 5 quarts. If you
Yeah,
lose a quart, you're down 25%.
yeah,
So
yeah, and that's probably, I guess, on think about it. I only drive older cars. Like, if you got a brand new car, maybe it's like the chances of it freaking running out of oil are probably lower, but
Lower,
everything
yeah.
I have is 50,000 mile plus,
Yeah.
up to 200,000 or
You
whatever.
just got
So,
to think about it. Oil changes can be expensive, but if you go to put an engine in,
yep,
engine replacement nowadays is anywhere from 5 to 10 to $15,000,
it's true.
and I mean and that's shopping around for used ones. You go put a remanufactured engine in, you're definitely going to spend that around that higher $10,000 mark.
Yeah, I think I paid 9 grand for that Mini Cooper, and I think the engine, and I tried to beat it all the way through to the end. I was like, I'm just gonna put a brand new Mini Cooper engine in it. But then we talked about the turbo. Like a turbo is like another $1,500, and you're like, well, if we put the old turbo on the new engine, then you never know.
Mhm.
So I was like, okay. And anyway, long story short, we got like a used engine or
Yeah.
something for I don't even know. I remember that I had almost with your labor and this engine that was crazy expensive and still used whatever. I ended up with like 8 grand in it.
Yeah.
So I paid 9 grand, and within probably a year, I put another 8 grand in it. It's ridiculous, but it's my own fault. Like we left for a hurricane or something, and I left the car here, I think. And then we were gone for like 2 months, 3 months maybe. And then I came back and I just started driving it again. And then after like
Hmm.
another month, it started sounding weird. And then I looked up at the sticker and I was like, oh, shoot.
Yeah. Way
And
over.
literally like 8,000 miles or
Uh,
something over. And then I've been zipping the turbo around.
hmm.
And anyway, you're like, hey,
Change
you're
your oil.
screwed.
Yeah. If you take anything out of this, change your oil.
Just change the oil. It's expensive until it's not.
Yeah.
Until it's not $8,000 worth.
Yeah.
So, anything else? What was the other? There was one more we talked about the other day. Uh, I don't know. I can't think of any.
I don't.
That dude, I'm about talked out. What about
Yeah.
you?
Yeah.
All right. All right. That's it. We'll catch you
All
next
right.
time.
Sounds good.
Hey guys, I got done recording this podcast and I started telling Brenton about what I wanted to do for every podcast is have like some sort of memorabilia that's like in a limited supply just to kind of like spread the news and build local business. So I came up with this idea. I was like, hey, I'm going to do this one-off shirt and it's going to have the Pike County Insider on the front and it's going to have Douglas Automotive on the back. So I'm like, then we're going to sell them at after each podcast for $30 a piece. And he's like, you're gonna sell them? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, I have like $1,500 worth of shirts. I just give them away. I never imagined somebody would buy one. So then it like hit me, well, that's where we're at. We'll rep Nike brand. We'll be a walking advertisement for Under Armour, but we aren't that way for the local businesses. I just feel like this is like rather than building a multi-million-dollar company outside of Pike County, what if the normal thing was rather to just wear like a Douglas Automotive shirt? If we just went out there and served the community by advertising for a great guy like Brenton Douglas.